All right. Well, good morning, everybody, and welcome to our webinar on the Arts and Culture Grant for 2025. My name is Mike Moe, and I'm the Director of Tourism Development and Strategic Partnership for State of Washington Tourism. So today we are going to provide an overview on our Arts and Culture Grant program this year. It's designed to help your community support the promotion and management of artistic and cultural forms of expression as tourism assets. First, I want to give credit to the Washington State Department of Commerce, who awarded SWT with a $3.5 million destination planning development grant. This program provides the funding for this grant and all of our grant programs to come in 2025 and the programs last year. So a big thank you to Commerce for their confidence in SWT. Here is our agenda today. Very simple agenda. I'm going to give an overview of the Arts and Culture Grant, and I'll turn it over to our Destination Development Coordinator, Tamara Rice, the real brains behind this operation, and she will show you how to apply on our grant management platform. And finally, I'll give you a little overview of our budget document. For those of you who've been through these webinars before, this last part might be repetitive, but if you're new to the process, you certainly want to stay on and learn how to apply. As always, we should have plenty of time to answer questions throughout the program and at the end. I'll keep an eye on the chat. And don't forget to use that Q&A button. That's a lot easier to do the questions and answers. Also, like I said, this webinar is being recorded, and I will be sending this out to all everybody who registered. And so this will go out the next day or two. So you'll be able to review it at your own leisure. So let's get started with the Arts and Culture Program overview. This grant is designed to support the promotion and management of artistic and cultural forms of expression as tourism assets. This includes museums, historic sites, cultural institutes, creative districts, along with events such as art shows, concerts, and festivals. The Arts and Culture Grant aims to boost the local economy by attracting overnight visitors who are interested in experiencing the artistic and cultural offerings of people and place while mitigating any negative impacts on residents, social services, and public infrastructure. Applicants must be a Washington-based organization, such as a local government like a city or a county, a tribal organization, a chamber, destination marketing or management organization, or some other nonprofit that supports travel and tourism. Here are the key program dates. Please note that these dollars come from the Department of Commerce, and we can only invoice Commerce after we have all of our contracts in place with our grantees. And so then we can only fund the grants once we've received the money from Commerce. So you'll notice there are some approximate dates there. That's because the money has to wind through the Commerce machinery and through us and then out to you. But we do try to get it out to you as soon as possible. And this is a bit of a compressed timeline this year. Up to $30,000 will be awarded for each grant. Matching funds are encouraged, but not necessarily required. And we have $162,500 total available for this program. Now, I will say last year, this was probably our most competitive grant. We had almost 100 applicants and over 100 million or over $1 million in ask. So just keep that in mind. We want to, we really want to fund all these worthwhile projects around the state, but we are limited to what we have. One other thing I should note is that you can, if you apply for this grant, you are not precluded from applying into any of our other grants. You can apply for more than one. And then, though it's not necessarily in our grant criteria, we do love to see collaboration with other stakeholders, including your DMOs, your chambers, your tribes, your local government, and land managers. So I've mentioned this before, but this money is federal grant money. And so there are more stringent rules on how the money is used and reported. First of all, when using federal grant dollars, they are federal grant dollars all the way down from the feds through through Commerce to us to you until they hit whatever business or subcontractor you use. And so the rules do not change. So just keep that in mind. As a grantee, you will have to have a registered and active UEI number, a UBI number, and EIN number. So keep that in mind. Any subcontractor you use will not necessarily need a UEI number, but they will need their EIN number and UBI numbers I know it's hard to keep all of that straight, but it will be kind of listed, and as you go through the application, it'll be made more clear. Your subcontractors must be billed on a reimbursement basis. So you pay them after they do the work, they send you an invoice, then you pay them, and then you have a receipt. Every dollar that you spend needs to match a receipt, and we'll provide you with a reporting template, but you have to keep track of the dollars on these grants. Finally, dollars cannot be used for staff salaries. One thing, as you are going through your application, you'll be putting together a budget. And almost the first thing I do, when we're looking we're reviewing grants, is we look at the budget and make sure that all the things in the budget are actually legit, like are able to comply with the rules. One other thing you can't do is use the dollars for marketing. So keep that in mind. You can create assets, but you can't actually market with these dollars. It's one of the rules, again, from Commerce and the federal government. After you submit your application, our grant review committee will score the application based on the criteria listed here. Obviously, you'll provide a detailed proposal of the grant project as it relates to arts and culture. Please include the timeline, the budget summary, partners, and other relevant information. How will this grant support continued travel and tourism in your community? And that word "continued" is something I've just added this year. We really want to see how it's going to continue to affect your community in a positive way, not just one. Like if you're doing an event, if it's just one thing, for this year, that we wanted to see how it continues to provide economic benefit from your community. Provide a statement of need for this grant project in your destination community. Why do you need these dollars? How does this grant project incorporate safety, security, accessibility, and inclusion? What kind of match funding will be available for this project? And then how will you comply with all the reporting requirements? Okay, that's a lot. I'm going to stop there. I will come down here and check the chat. No questions so far. So I'm going to turn it over to our intrepid destination development coordinator, Tamara Rice, and she will walk you through on how to submit an application.
Thanks, Mike. Yeah, hi, everybody. So I know a lot of you have already been through this before, but I am going to aim this towards the folks that are new to the Wise Hive application portal that we use. So first, let me let you know where to find the link for this application. You'll find it on the SWT's grant landing page on January 15th is when this grant opens up. And I'm going to share my screen with you here. I have so many windows open. Okay, I think this is the right one. Yeah, so when you click on the link, hang on just one second. Sorry, Mike, I'm having a technical.
Looks good. We can see it.
Yeah, I can't see it on my end right now.
Oh.
Sorry. Try this again. Dang. Apologies here, folks.
No worries.
Okay, there it is again. Can you see it okay?
Yeah, we're good.
Great, thanks. Okay, so this is the first page that you'll see when you click on the link. And so this goes over information that Mike just went over and a little bit more detailed here for you. There's a timeline for the application and also stipulations for working with contractors. You'll really want to familiarize yourself with this information, and we have important links here for you too. Reporting requirements that come with these grants, so that you know what you're getting into. There's also an FAQ link for this grant and an FAQ link for the application portal. We'll be including the recording for this webinar here as well, and here's my contact information. The next thing you'll do is you'll click on the apply, and it'll take you to this login information here or login screen. So if you already have an account, you'll click on I already have an account, enter your information. But for some of you, you're new users, you'll enter your information here, and just remember that the email address that you enter here will receive a 6-digit passcode. And so once you click on create account, you'll have a queue to get that passcode in there. And then you'll come to an area that'll kind of look like this. You won't see this like the test.org or test.org secondary account here because you won't already have set up your organization profile. So what you'll need to do if you're new is click on create new organization. Now that's the button right above the back button here. Please do not click on the create using GuideStar. So click on create new organization. Now I already have my organization set up. And this is the information that we'll be requesting from you. Your organization's legal name, your EIN number, your unique entity ID. Remember again, this needs to be an active registered UEI number. If you only have a UEI number and it does not have an expiration date, that's not enough. For these grants, it needs to be active registered. So go to sam.gov, look up your number, make sure that it is active registered. It has that expiration date. Also look at the expiration date, make sure that it is not expired. And your UBI number here. Also, I want to mention that sometimes folks, and it happens more often than not, they enter the incorrect numbers in here. This is a challenge, so please review it, make sure you have the numbers entered correctly. We'll need your organization's mailing address and primary contact information. We'd like to have additional contact information, but if for some reason you only have the primary contact, please enter NA in both of these fields here, the first name and last name. Do you have a DMO that you're affiliated with? If so, please enter that information here. And next you'll click on profile, save profile and continue. And go to, looks like I've already done this, so eligibility check. There's 2 questions on the eligibility check. Let me see if I can go to that here so you can see it. There we go. So the 2 questions, does your organization reside in Washington? And are you a for-profit business? For-profit businesses are not eligible to apply for this grant. Even if you use a fiscal sponsor, for-profit businesses are not eligible to apply for this grant. So you'll click on, does your organization reside in Washington? I'll click yes. And I click no for that one. Oops. And I have a little glitch going on. So hang on here. There we go. It says I am eligible, and I'm going to start applying. So on the application itself, you'll see at the top here the 3 little profiles there. Click on that if you'd like to add collaborators to help you out with this application. First one is project title, your brief summary of your project, anticipated date that it'll start, your grant amount. The maximum amount for this grant is $30,000. And are you open to partial funding? Yes or no there. And other questions here, project categories, the region that this project will take place in. And you can enter more than one region here as well. Project location, and is there additional location that this project will be in? There's several questions here with the weight, the percentage of the question. So you'll go ahead and enter that information here. And so I'll spend a little bit more time on the supporting documents. Again, the EIN number needs to be a verification determination letter. So please don't just upload the letter that you received from the IRS saying you have an EIN number. That's not enough. Your UEI active registration confirmation, it does need to be that confirmation showing your expiration date. Please do not upload your confirmation that just says you have a UEI number. It has to show that it's active registered with a current expiration date. The UBI information is here, excuse me, you need to upload your UBI confirmation, and here's the link to the Washington State Department here. There's also a link to the W-9 form and the grant application budget template. With the W-9 form, please make sure it's assigned, excuse me, and dated with a 2025 date. So it's a current W-9 form, and also use the grant template that we have here. It really helps our review committee out. And so you'll upload that information here. We'll need your organization's annual budget information and marketing budget information. These are just rounded numbers. We don't need a spreadsheet. You actually won't be able to upload a spreadsheet here. Your legislative district for your organization, or district, plural districts if you have more. Optional documents. So there's a spot here where you can upload up to 5 optional documents. Please remember that if you choose to upload, let's say, a draft quote that you'll be using, do not enter a vendor name. So stakeholders should express an intention to seek contract work from a third party without naming a vendor. Let's see, description of your organization and your organization's URL. A letter of recommendations are not required, but there's a spot here to upload up to 3 letters of recommendations and 3 letters of references. And finally, we're at the agreement and signature. So remember, this is not a final contract. If you're a successful applicant, you'll receive an award contract to sign. This is just basically stating that you understand and agree of the criteria for this program, and also that you have completed this application with integrity and accuracy. So once you've completed all this, make sure you get a second set of eyes on it, review this, because once you submit this application, you're unable to edit it. So really make sure that it's correct. And I'm going to go back. And then you click on submit. Of course, mine's not going to go through because I don't have anything in this. But you'll also, I want to point out, if you see anything that's like a red line or a dot here, that means you need to go back into that section and look at it and make sure that you've completed it correctly. And I think that's about it for that. Let me go ahead and stop sharing. And once you submit your application, you'll receive an email confirmation. I'll be putting in the chat here my email address. If you have questions, if you have problems with WiseHive, let me know and we'll get that figured out for you. So thank you so much.
Thanks, Tamara. Great job. Okay, we got a few questions in the chat and then a couple of questions in the Q&A. First of all, a few people are asking about the 2024 applicants. I'll just show you where you can find that real quick. If you go on to our grants page, stateofwashingtontourism.com, and you click on the Arts and Culture Grant, this is the link that I sent in the chat. And you scroll down to 2024 grant recipients. It's right there, and that will take you to a little thing here, and you can just zoom in and you can see about the grant recipients there. So there's that. Let's see here. Stop share there. Okay, there's that question. Hopefully that answers your question there, Cynthia. Okay, so as far as festivals and cultural events that drive overnight stays and spending, you do have to, it has to be a new event. It needs to be at least 3 years or less. This development and planning grant from Commerce was all about either helping people recover from COVID or producing new things that create tourism in destinations. So it does have to be within the event would have to be started within the last 3 years. So keep that in mind. And then 2 separate criteria. Yes, it's only new. Hopefully I'm answering your question there, Stuart. Local government, a special purpose, a port would be applicable for this. That would be a local government. Does it auto save when it's in progress so it can be completed over several days? It does, right, Tamara?
Yes, it should auto save for you, but if there is a button at the bottom of your screen, click on it to save it. That wouldn't hurt. Also, you can complete it over several days. Yes.
Great. Okay, in the Q&A, would an organization pay out contracts and then be reimbursed later? No, we are able to pay, we'll be paying you the grant money up front. However, for your subcontractors, you will have to have them do the work and then reimburse or pay them basically after they do the work and you have receipts and invoices and all that. Actually, have an invoice, you'll pay them, then you'll get your receipt. Um, elaborate how the funds awarded can't be used for marketing an event. Yeah, this is one that if we have language wrong on the website, we can change that, but you cannot use it for marketing. That's something that kind of some of these rules have been uncovered over the last couple of years as we've been doing these grants. But that one you cannot do active marketing with these dollars. Like I said, you can do asset creation, and so like you can pay for photos and video, but then you can't pay for ads on Facebook, for example. Hopefully that answers your question. What does this grant support? We operate a pay as you will children's museum. No. So I mean, it sounds like an amazing, pay as you will children's museum. So if this, Kathy, would work for if you have a specific project in mind to increase, visitors to your area, this would help support that. Um, it wouldn't support, I don't think it could supplement the actual cost of visitors. It would have to be for a specific project. I hope that is a good question though. Okay, back to the chat. Does a DMO have to apply for each individual festival and or art event? Um, yes. And if you are applying for more than one thing, we would ask you to label something your primary and then your secondary application. Because if we get multiple grant applications, we want to know which one you'd want us to choose. Could it be a new component to an already existing event? Adding a 5-10K run to a cultural fest? Yes. I think the 5K, 10K run would be considered a new event. Um, and again, back to applying for more than one festival and event. I'm telling you, this is a very, very competitive. This is a competitive grant. We had over 100 registrants just for this webinar, so just keep that in mind. I'm not saying you're not eligible to do more than one. I'm just saying that it's very competitive and you're unlikely to get more than one. And so if you have time to do that, that's great, but just keep that in mind. We are a sub-organization, a DBA of a larger nonprofit with a shared EIN UBI. Should we be applying as a fiscally sponsored organization? And how should our annual budget show? Just our DBA's budget. I mean, a DBA is doing business as, so I would think that's it's the same organization. I don't know, Tamara, you got any
Yeah, I
insight
would
on?
I would agree with you on that, Mike.
So I wouldn't think that your budget would be any different. If you're DBA, like we're DBA, we have an old name, but we're DBA State of Washington Tourism, but it's the same organization. It's not a different organization. Kathy, so no, it would not, I guess I'd have to understand what you mean by supporting general visitation to the museum. I guess you're asking if this grant would support your normal budget because people are doing pay as you will. Um, yeah, I'm not sure on that one. I think, Kathy, why don't you send me an individual email to kind of and outline what you mean on that, and I can put my email in the chat. Yep, Tamara beat me to it. Thank you. Uh, bu- bu- you clarify assets for what is covered? One of print assets, not ads, that are used for on-site signage for events, businesses participating in an event or campaign.
I can answer that one, Mike.
Yeah, go ahead.
So for that one, you can create the content for the printed asset, but the actual printing is not eligible. That expense wouldn't be. Hopefully that answers that question.
Does a 5K constitute as an arts and culture? Would that be more of a sports event? I understand what you're saying, but it would be app. You could apply for this on that. All right. Any other questions? Please feel free to ask now. There we go. Okay. Somebody's asking about our tourism sustainability and tourism regeneration grants. We do not have an estimated timeline just yet. Before we got this planning and development grant from Commerce, we did have a tourism sustainability grant back in the day. Right now, this money runs through the end of 2025. After that, we will see. We are in the process of trying to pass right now we're trying to pass a bill to hold on to the money that we have for our normal budget, and then we will be working towards creating a plan that would provide a much larger budget that would let us do this annually. But it really depends on what our budget looks like. But we do, obviously, these kinds of projects are, securely in our future plans. It just really depends on budget. We want to be able to support you guys. We are hosting an art exhibit during the month of April. What could we use the grant money to cover for the exhibit? I
Mike,
mean,
excuse me. So
yep.
I think the month of April, it would be real challenging because we may not have the information back from the Department of Commerce in time that they've released the funds to SWT for.
Well, April, I think would be pretty close, right?
It'd be
Early.
mid-April, maybe.
Yeah, and one problem there is that you cannot pace like you can't have already hired somebody once like you have to get the funds, then you have to go through the hiring process, and then you can pay for something. But there are kind of stringent rules on selecting a vendor. If it's over $10,000, you have to have three different bids, and this is outlined in the grant page. But you have to have three different bids from different contractors, and then select one. So that would be very difficult in April. Can you clarify the City of Edmonds project from 2024 Pride and 2025 Lunar Pride? I think we did allow them to do two separate events, but I think that we've determined that's not going to be something we'll do this year.
Yeah, we learned from
We
our
learned from it.
cycle.
So you're right. We shouldn't have done that, but we're all learning together. Any other questions before we sign off? You have Tamara's email. You have my email. Well, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and end it there. Thank you so much for joining us today, and hopefully you understand the process better. And if you, yeah, Tamara just put our link for our newsletter. Please follow along with what we're doing, and we'd love to have you as a supporter of our organization and our, our future activity. So thank you so much, and
We
have
have
a great day.
one more
Yeah.
question
One more
there.
question? Okay.
Yeah, so what is the performance period for this funding? So these funds need to be expended by November 30th of this year, and final report needs to be submitted by December 31st of this year.
Yeah, every single dollar has to be out the door by the end of this year. That's the deal with this grant. So, all right, thank you everybody, and I will see you around the road. All right, thanks.